Hi, welcome all of you. Let us start with a question that is central to many fields like finance, machine learning, and biosciences. That is, how do agents operate optimally in a given environment? For example, in finance, we are constantly bombarded with choices regarding what to do with our assets. In natural language processing, an artificial agent is constantly trying to understand what you're saying and optimally respond to you. In biosciences, organisms have evolved to that level of sophistication that they have to act as optimally as possible in order to ensure their survival in an environment. A general framework to deal with these problems are called the stochastic control problems. And in this framework, we have an agent who's trying to influence the environment. Then we have the environment itself that is giving the agent feedback, and that is basically everything else other than the agent. Then we have actions or controls that is enabling the agent to influence the environment. But what makes this problem interesting are the noises involved. Firstly, we can have the environment noise that is responsible for fluctuations in the feedback from environment. Then we can have mutations in the environment that are fundamental changes to the environments. And this forces the agent to adapt in order to make optimal decisions. Finally, we can have observation noises that is affecting the agent's sampling of observations from the environment. And for example, it could be a biased sensor or bad eyesight. In this presentation, we present to you a framework that emerged in neuroscience that is biologically possible. And it emerged as a general theory of behavior. So central postulate in this framework states that an agent maintains homeostasis by residing in states that minimize entropy. So how do we quantify entropy? Entropy is also called surprise, and surprise is quantified as the negative log of probability of observations. So if an observation has high probability, then the entropy is low. And if an observation has very low probability, then it is a highly surprising or high entropic event. So this figure here shows how active inference deals with agent environment loop, and it basically separates agent and environment as external and internal states, where the sensory states and action states acts as a blanket in between the external and internal states. But how do we quantify entropy and surprise? For that, the agent maintains a generative model. And this generative model is an approximate model of the environment. But generally, this problem is intractable in nature of marginalizing probability of observations from the generative model. But we define an upper bound on this surprise, and basically minimizing this upper bound enables us to minimize the surprise. And this upper bound is called variational free energy in active inference, and that is a single cost function in active inference. So the quantity QS here is an approximate model of the environment that we maintain, because maintaining the accurate model of the environment is often intractable in the problem of active inference. This is very correlated with the Bayesian brain hypothesis, where it states that we organisms maintain a model or prior, and we principally combine it with the observations that we sample from the environment that we call data in order to have posterior distributions of the environment. Interestingly, a central theory in control states that every good regulator of a system must be a model of that system. And this motivates us in order to pursue active inference as a good algorithm for control. The main advantage of using active inference is that it brings together three different problems, that is perception, decision making, and learning, under this single framework, and single cost function, that is variational free energy. So this graphical model here represents the generative model in active inference, and this part of the generative model is responsible for perception, that observations O are functions of hidden states that is not accessible to the agent, and they are connected with the likelihood operator A. And basically perception is going backward in this graph, that is inferring hidden states from observations. Then we have planning, for which we use the expected free energy, that is expected value of variational free energy into future. And this expected free energy is influenced by prior preference that the agent has, or the goals that the agent is trying to accomplish in the environment. Then lastly, we have transitions in time, transitions of hidden states in time. And principally, while transitioning in time, we can use Bayesian formulations in order to enable the agent to learn different parameters for this generative model. In order to demonstrate the usefulness of active inference for control, we did simulations, and this simulation is called the classic windy grid world task, where the agent is trying to navigate from a predefined start state to a goal state as optimally as possible. The agent has 8 available actions, and we have implemented all different complexities, that is fluctuations in wind on the way, then mutations in the wind profile, and also observation noise. And basically, the wind in this framework causes unintended drift upwards or downwards. And that is what we call the environmental noise in this problem. Our results demonstrate that active inference is performing really well when compared to popular control algorithms like Q-learning, which comes from the reinforcement learning architecture. For more analysis and results, kindly refer to our preprint that is available online. Currently, we are trying to compare this method with smarter reinforcement learning algorithms, and also trying to enable learning in partial observable settings, etc. Thank you so much for listening.